Well, I finally got my car running. However, the problem I'm having now, at least I've discovered that when I get parts, they're not fitting my car. See, I ordered my fuel pump from Amazon, and I got it. And man, I had it up just recently. Basically, it's like two poles, the nut. Well, the fuel pump I'm getting has, let's see here, basically this plastic connector. It comes with a plastic connector, and if you look here, there's a textured fitting, but I couldn't get these fittings off. I used a pair of vice grips and everything else, and all they do is spin on there. So I don't know what the deal. I thought maybe this plastic thing would come off, but I couldn't get it off. So I gotta redo the wires off the fuel cylinder. But what I'm noticing now is that I'm ordering parts, and they say they fit, but they don't. Now I thought this was the wrong fuel pump, so I went to a local parts store, Auto Joke, and right off the shelf he had the same fuel pump. So fortunately there's no directions, but I'm thinking these come off, but I didn't really want to break the fuel pump that I just bought. So I kind of moved on from that. But like the pickup coil, I bought one off Summit Racing, and it didn't fit my car. In fact, the first sign I seen was that it had the wrong connector on it, and I thought, hey, well, I could just, change the connector on it, solder it on, and put it on there. So when I took the distributor apart, rebuilt it with it, well, the tolerance, the clearance, made the shaft not spin on the distributor. So I had to go to Rock Auto and buy a whole new distributor, which never resolved my problem with the car in the first place. So, but seems to be that's what I'm having a problem with the car now. Like, I used to be able to go in there and say, this is my make, this is my model, this is the year, this is the engine, and I get the right part. And now I'm finding out that, and it's not the guy picking the part off the shelf wrong, it's being categorized wrong or something. So I have that to look forward to for this car. Right there is the fuel pump. This one's a little bit different. We got two connectors, but I had a pole. In fact, and it might come off. So, find it disappointing, but what can you do? So now I'm contacting these people to figure out what is gas resistant and what I can use in there, because a guy at the auto parts store tried to tell me that it'd be okay to use these connectors with these plastic ends in my gas tank, and I'm sorry, but I feel like I'd be making a big ass bomb. So we're not doing that. So, but that's kind of part of my complaint with getting parts for the car now. And so anyways, that part of my story is complete. So now let's talk about the car. It's been parked for 2 years, in the same condition. Couldn't figure out what the problem is. So this whole time I thought it was electrical. So we're going to go back in time. In 2008 or 2007, I bought a new hood for the car. The car is a limited run RS Crossfire injection. What that is there's two throttle bodies that work together for each side of the engine. Theoretically, you're supposed to get more ponies out of it. I don't know. Mainly, if you look it up, you're going to find Corvettes talk about it. On my car, and I don't know about the Corvettes, but it has like a ram air duct, so the air comes up off the hood. There's two little doors that pop open. That's a motor controls it. Well, there's no weather seals for them. Like, you can get an entire weather seal kit for the car, but it will not have those little doors in the hood. And basically, it rusted out the hood because water got in there. And in fact, when I bought the car, I bought it in 2005, I think, or 2004. I don't remember when I bought it. It was hydrolocked. It was parked, and I thought it had a bad starter. I put a new starter in it, and it still acted up, and then took out the spark plugs, and water poured out. So that was great. Nothing against my friend that sold it to me, but that was the deal. I've been a couple push rods. So, but anyways, so getting to why I thought it was electrical this whole time is when I worked on an 85 GTI I had, I took the rear door off and changed it because it was rusted out. I was repainting the car, and I didn't hook up all the wires. Well, when I started the car, my parking lights would kick on for a bit. I don't remember if it stayed on or flashed. I can't remember. And I couldn't figure out what that was about until I hooked the wires, the ground wires, back up on in the trunk, and it went away. So, you know, from that day forth, I realized that electrical can be a funny thing. So, when I decided to put the hood on the car, it was running fine. And I took the hood off and put the new hood on, and found out that the guy that made it, it was handmade by him. The hood didn't line up with the door hinges, so it kind of made me work. In fact, to this day, I haven't got it fixed yet because I've been trying to fix the damn car, get it running right. Because there's no point in me fixing the hood without getting the car, running right. So basically, now the last time I drove it was 2014, and it is 2020. You know what I mean? I drive it like I drove it on the road. I parked it because the brakes were shot. I need new brakes all the way around, and I didn't have the money. It's before I bought my house. In fact, the last time I drove it's when I bought this house, which is about 5 years ago. It was the last time I drove it, moved it from the apartment to here. So, anyhow, basically I hit the key, and then idle it, even though it was parked, just get the fluid running. Well, when I changed the hood, all of a sudden, I start the car, it would idle, but then all of a sudden just idle up, idle down, idle up, idle down. Seemed kind of weird, Well, now, eventually, my buddy started coming by. We started working on the hood, and, taking the hood latches off the car and drilling new holes in there to reposition, because the holes in the hood are just not lined up right. So I had to reposition the hinges on the car to a different spot. So I had to drill holes. So that was the whole process. In fact, it's off by an inch, and I got about an inch of washers just on the locking mechanism. That was just a temp fix, you know. But when the last time I worked on the hood is when I realized the car's not running at all. It would fire up and sputter. And at that time, I had some power. I could barely get on my car ramps. And we kind of figured out it was a fuel issue. Because if you look at the throttle bodies, it's not dumping out enough fuel. But what was coming on the exhaust, it was just killing your eyes. So anyways, I figured it was bad gas. So the first thing we did was we dumped the fuel tank and put a new fuel filter, and that didn't resolve it. So then we did the basics. We placed the wires, the spark plugs. That didn't fix it. Well, it ran better, but it didn't fix it. And so some things we would do to the car, it seemed to run better. I can't explain it like you can hear, at least I could. I could hear, you know, it running, and I knew if it sounded right or not. Then we checked back. I checked for vacuum leaks. I had one vacuum leak that was always there, but never caused any problems. So now we're grasping at straws. So we're thinking, well, maybe I plugged up my catalytic converter. Because, like I said, I just ran it, parked. It's never mixed the fuel right. Because I had to replace the one throttle body, so it wasn't always perfectly tuned. So I'm thinking maybe the cat got plugged. So I cut a hole in the catalytic converter there, and wasn't it either. So now I just put a hole in my catalytic converter for no reason. So kind of frown on that. So he wanted to draw out the caps on my air fuel ratio mixture on the throttle bodies. They're sealed, so you got to drill them out with a drill to get to them. And I refused to do that. I was like, no, the car ran fine before that. They're not going to just magically adjust themselves. That's not the problem. So thank God I didn't just say, all right, whatever. So I kind of did that with my catalytic converter, so I kind of regret that. But hey, diagnosis. So upon checking for vacuum leaks, if I unplugged the map sensor, because I was trying to figure out, it took me a while to look online to figure out what's controlling the fuel mixture, because the whole time it seemed like it's just not mixing the fuel right. Because, like I said, it would run. It just, you know, you floor it, and it'll go up to 4,500 RPMs, and it would just fall flat. You know, and it would idle, and it just wouldn't stay idling. You know, just die out. And so, lost my train of thought. So anyways, I looked online and found out that the pickup coil and the map sensor, that all determines the fuel mixture. So I went and bought a new pickup coil, which I already talked about earlier in the video. That didn't resolve the problem. And I couldn't keep the car running long enough to finish the timing, to retime the ignition. So I still got to do that. It's not even bolted down. I still got to do that. Because it just wouldn't stay running. So now when I unplugged the vacuum hose off the map sensor, all of a sudden the car ran a hell of a lot better. I thought, well, goddamn, that's the problem the whole time. Buy a new map sensor, slap it on the car, same goddamn deal. So now I'm checking the fuel canister, checking that out. Started taking off the gas tank cap. drawing straws. Now, mind you, this has been 2 years. You know, once in a while looking at it, you know, not high priority. Well, I decided to slap on a fuel pressure gauge before the fuel filter, and it was what 0 to 80, or I can't remember. 0 psi before the fuel filter. How in God's green earth is this car starting with 0 psi? I actually questioned if the gauge was even working. So, there you go. That's the problem the whole goddamn time. So, last Saturday, put a fuel pump in the car, and I got ended up having to cut a hole in the inside the car because I ain't taking the fuel tank off the car because I gotta drop the rest of the exhaust and everything else. This is not gonna happen. And lo and behold, that was the problem. Ain't that crazy? So let's see here. I'm going to play some videos. That's my car.
I mean, it is idling better though when I opened it.
So this is with the map sensor off. Basically, till it warms up, it'll idle, but then it will just shut off. So you see where I'm getting frustrated with this car, because I do stuff and then it seems better and then it's not. That's with the map sensor plugged in. So you see how that's really, really frustrating when you go through all that. And so this is my victory here.
Well, looks like I temporarily fixed the fuel pump. I'm gonna have to take it to a shop and get it fixed properly, but I hope. Yeah, fuel pump works. Yeah, got a fuel leak. That's great. always something, right? Looks like a fuel return line. But yep, that's what it was.
So, yep, that is it. Figured out what's wrong. I gotta put some new connectors on it. And, yeah. Remember, when you work on your car, you must annoy your neighbors. You must show your dominance in the neighborhood. Remember that. Have a good day.